You're listening to goldradio.fm. Available online at housestreet.com, talkdigitalnetwork.com. Welcome to goldradio.fm, podcasting in 0.99995. I'm Jim Goddard. My guest is Jim Willie, founder of the Hat Trick Letter, online at golden-jackass.com. Jim, welcome back to goldradio.fm.
Well, it's good to be back, and a lot has happened in the last few weeks, and some of it is very good and some of it is very bad.
Can you tell us about the Hat Trick Letter, how our listeners can subscribe, and how they can get a private consultation with you?
Sure. It's www.goldenjackass.com. I'm into my 22nd year now. I'm becoming a bit long in the tooth, but still sharp as a tack. The website is going strong. It's very accessible for the handheld items, handheld devices. I have time to do consult calls. I have one later this afternoon, a very nice lady in Texas. The Stock and Trade is the newsletter, and I tell you, it's a joy. It's a joy to cover this at the national level. It really is. And I'm not getting worn out at all by the war and the work and the analysis and the research. I'm just getting dragged down by the flack that I receive for being a defender of truth and honesty and liberty. So, the website is www.golden-jackass.com, and it's going strong. Sign up for the newsletter, do a consult call, make a donation, whatever. All right.
What are you hearing on the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
It was a bit too loaded with irregularities. I'm not a forensic analyst, but the blood spurt wasn't right. There's no recovery of the weapon in a clean manner. There's no ballistics verification of the bullet that supposedly hit. I've got a very good pair of photos of one is a double of Charlie Kirk, and it's a good double. It's like an 80% double. The NSA software concludes that it's the same person if the match is between something like 92 and 98%. We don't look the same a month later. We look a little bit different, our expression different, our hairline different, whatever. So there are a lot of, and it might be used to bring about gradual implication and declaration of the Democratic Party as a terrorist organization and a domestic threat. So that's about all I have to say on that Kirk incident.
Could Charlie Kirk have faked his death because he thought some big players were going to kill him?
Yes, I am being told that for the last few weeks he's been threatened, and it's not just by the little country in the Med. It's some others, and I'm not really an expert on that, and I don't choose to be, and I really don't care about any comparisons with Butler, Pennsylvania, so we can skip that. This is not a topic that I wish to do much investigative research in. What I'm curious about is the aftermath. Regardless of what the incident was, the aftermath is more important than the actual incident. I don't think he's dead. If I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say 80-85% certain that Charlie Kirk is somewhere else with his family. And it could very well be, I've seen some pictures of his wife, can't remember her name, Anita or something, I can't think of her name, but I saw pictures of the double for the wife also. Okay, remember, most people you think are dead are alive, and most people you think are alive are dead. And just put that up on your wall.
Q talked about the shot heard around the world. Was the Charlie Kirk incident it?
Don't know.
Does it look like there are similarities between the President Trump shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the Charlie Kirk shooting in Utah?
I don't know. It's a different person. I'm really not too interested in that sort of analysis. I'm busy with the finance and economics. I'm very curious to see, though, if there's going to be some movement to gradually declare the Democratic Party a criminal organization and try to RICO it and confiscate the Clinton Foundation funds. That's my curiosity. I don't think Kirk is dead.
Is deception in politics a tool that's being used more and more often?
Yeah, and I think it's been going on for 5 or 6 or 8 years. I mean, how long ago was it that we got the nonsensical double of Pompeo and the stupid story that he spent 7 months at a spa to lose 70 pounds and to completely change his facial structure? Okay, that was 3 or 4 years ago. This has been going on. I mean, Biden in 2020 in the autumn was dead. So you had a dead man and someone pretending to be him doing a presidential campaign. This has been going on for a long time. Many people you think are dead are alive, and many people you think are alive are dead. For instance, Princess Diana, she's alive and well. I think she's hiding in Spain somewhere, guest of King Carlos. John Lennon, he's not dead. He's probably running around in California somewhere among the hippies. A lot of people are not dead who supposedly were killed. This has tremendous political capital and benefit. And the hard part is sequestering him and his family so that the real ones aren't killed.
Is President Trump more likely to rely on doubles following the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
I think he's been using doubles for 10 years. This needs to be cleaned up. And I go back to a joke that I have been using now for a few months, and I have been applying it to judges who are corrupt. Will all the traitors please rise? So this is an instigating incident that prompts a response. And, you know, there are some different murder mystery television series and movies, and sometimes it's not the evidence that brings about charges for murder. It's responses to stimuli that indicate the motive and the past activity of the killer. So now I'm noticing this is really quite interesting, that there's, cheering on certain, Supreme Court decisions, and they're cheering for exoneration in court, and they're cheering for, corrupt judges making a decision. Now they're cheering for the apparent kill of Charlie Kirk. Well, all traitors, please rise. Rise to be counted. Okay, this is very deep. And for those who thought that President Trump's election would be, oh my gosh, is it going to be all cleaned up in 2 or 3 months? No. Try 2 or 3 years, it'll be halfway cleaned up. This is a long process. We don't have any really responsible body that oversees the entire industry and the sector. I know it's going to remove some jobs. It's not going to remove as many jobs as people think. I had some design engineers, like electronic engineer, chip designer, electronic device designers. They contacted me and said, no, AI doesn't remove jobs. It cannot do the job of an electronic engineer. It can do tasks. So what you're having is some companies are saying, we're going to reduce 1,000 or a few hundred people, and it could be for the bad economy. It could be for the economic depression that's not acknowledged. But they're using I don't like to call it an excuse, but they're using the argument that AI is making unnecessary certain jobs. Well, it's making unnecessary many tasks, but you can't give a robot the job of being a project manager behind a chip design. You can give various tasks. So there might be, let's just think you got 100 people, 100 design engineers at a large company like Intel, which had a major layoff. And then Microsoft, they had a major layoff. Of the 100 design engineers for chips, they might each have their load reduced by 20%. You don't get rid of those people because their jobs can be replaced. You can manage fewer people the same work. But the AI device, the AI robot, does not replace a person. It enables reduction of workforce because they're all more efficient. I know it seems the same thing, but it's not exactly the same thing. You cannot get a robot to write a newsletter. You can get a robot to handle various tasks. So if I had a staff of 10, let's just say more practical, a staff of 5, I could reduce it to 4. Okay, it's subtle. The difference is subtle. But there's a lot more to be concerned about, and that is AI devices doing hacking of financial records and financial accounts. There's concern about AI being involved in taking over, say, a weapon system, just like the movie Terminator with Skynet, Arnold Schwarzenegger. We got to be careful about that, and I don't think all the different protections are in place. The effect on the economy is going to be very positive, but there's another side of AI that needs to be handled and resolved. The electrical needs are going to be electricity needs and requirements. It's going to result in 3 to 5 more years of increasing electric bills for households because we're not planning. China is planning. We're not planning. We're free. Well, supposedly. China's not, but China has central planning. The United States does not have central planning. We require a data center to be profitable in like 2 or 3 quarters. But that's not how you get things done. We're going to be behind the curve for the next several years, and the tariff imposition is interfering with our expansion of the electric grid. SoftBank has put on hold its $100 billion investment in robotics and data centers because of the tariffs imposed unilaterally on Japan. Okay, I have said many times, the tariff policy is destructive. It produces 2 losers. We may get income from tariffs, but it's not translated into economic growth. It's all delayed by 2.5 years minimum. I question if anyone has any information on this. Has SoftBank broken ground on anything in the United States in the last 6 months after their pledge of $100 billion? They backed away after the Japanese tariffs. I don't think it's a good idea to impose tariffs on Japan. They're too important, positive, and beneficial trade partner. It's carrot and stick. There's too much stick and not enough carrot. But we got to be careful about AI harming people. Like, oh gosh, Walmart has something where it can actually review records, review certain, maybe even emails, and change the price of something that the person is looking for in the store. I don't know exactly how it's done, but it is marketing at an individual level with spyware. Okay, we have to be careful about this. We're just going ramrod, push it, and we're not thinking much about the ethics. And I really don't have a solution on how to handle the ethics, only that it needs to be addressed.
Is RFK Jr. doing a good job so far shining light on healthcare and big pharma?
Yes, I do, and I've got to say that I believe his approach is careful, cautious, and selective. Just imagine that you've got a very big target, and it's got maybe 8 rings to it. I think Robert Kennedy, Health Secretary Kennedy, is going after the rings number 5, 6, 7, and 8. And he's not yet addressed the central rings, the bullseye, the second ring, third ring, fourth ring. But for genocide conspiracy with the American Medical Association, he's not done anything regarding sabotage and arson of food processing centers, subsidiaries, and central offices, the American Medical Association. A lot of Americans, sadly, and Canadians don't understand. But what I think has happened regarding Robert Kennedy is very delicate. He's chosen some, not exactly low-lying fruit, but very important lower-level fruit, like reforming the Food and Drug Administration, firing directors of the Center of Disease Control in Atlanta, advertising and facilitating the information flow regarding ivermectin and fenbendazole for attacking parasites, which brings about a very big implication. And that's yet another area of medicine that's being suppressed so that people don't remain aware, don't become aware. Robert Kennedy is doing a really good job on the outer rings of the target. And believe you me, his entire family has been threatened with a kill. Kennedy's doing a really, really good job. I'd like to see the FDA all fired. They're all big pharma, former executives. They're regulating themselves. Okay, he's doing a very good job. Let's move on.
Do you think the American people are the only ones that President Trump answers to?
Lord, no. He answers to the cabal. He answers to Teal. He answers to 2 or 3 billionaires that helped fund his campaign. I think Trump is in a very difficult position. He wants to restore liberty, but I believe he has to do it at a very slow pace. He has to do it step by step, and he also has outer rings of the target. So he's going after his outer rings. Notice that he's really not done what he promised regarding war in the Middle East. He's not done what he intended to do in Ukraine. He went in as a swashbuckling victor in Ukraine when, I don't know if he's aware, but the United States doesn't have an army in Ukraine. They just have a proxy of NATO. So he's not really done a lot in Ukraine. I think he's getting a lot of pushback from the narcos who operate Ukraine. Ukraine is a trafficking hub for the entire planet, especially Europe. Trafficking of everything, and their banks are in Switzerland.
Are we likely to see silver shortages ahead?
We've had silver shortages for the last few years. They're becoming acute, and I believe they're going to become near catastrophic really soon because Mexico, having turned communist a few years ago without the headlines, is now a direct partner for selling concentrated ore, gold and silver, to China. It's very possible that because of declaring silver a national security metal that Mexico did and also President Trump has done, we're going to see less silver supply made available outside the military channels. It is my firm conviction that in the last year or two or more, it's not intended to be too funny. It's intended to shock. We're still going to get some moves. I think we're probably going to see close to $50 price or challenge by the end of the year. So we're likely to see 15 and 20% gains in silver in the next few months, but we're likely to see 10 and 20-fold gains, 20x, 10, 15, 20-fold gains in XRP as the bridge asset for transfer systems, which we'll address in a few minutes.
As the price of gold continues to rise, is it still a safe haven?
Oh, absolutely. There's no counterparty risk. Silver has the same lack of counterparty risk. It's not just a safe haven, it's a great store of value. I don't like hearing that Bitcoin is a great store of value. Well, yeah, if you don't have any intellectual property and if you don't have any contracts or a headquarter or a CEO, then emphasize the store of value. Okay, I get that, and I'll address that point a little bit later. But gold and silver have innate tangible value. And don't let the fact that there's so much gold hidden in various troves around the planet, don't let that dissuade you. Gold is still valuable, and that gold is not for sale. Just because there's a lot of supply doesn't mean it's available for sale. Let me rephrase that differently. Just because there's a lot in inventory doesn't mean it's ready supply for sale. That's a very difficult point for some people to wrap their heads around. But just take one instance. There are a lot of televisions in the United States and Canada. They're millions. Why doesn't the price go down to like $10? They're not for sale. Yeah, gold's a great store of value. So silver.
What are you hearing on the U.S. dollar and stablecoin?
Stablecoin is a very big issue, and you're really going to sign up for the newsletter to learn more about it, because I'm thinking about making a large section on stablecoins, because they're the ocean of liquidity for the digital financial tech system, the digital financial system, and there's a transformation going on. The stable coins, by definition, are tied 1-to-1, approximately, give or take, a portion of 1%, to existing currencies like the dollar, the British pound, the euro, or the yen. So the stable coin is stable by definition. It's a digital coin. For instance, USD Tether. If you did a chart for USD Tether, USDT, T as in Tether, you will see that for the last few years it has varied between 99.9 cents and 100.1 cents. Okay, so it's stable. But there's something going on with respect to stablecoin that I believe has caused an alert. And so far the Russian finance minister is the only office that has addressed this. It looks very clear like the U.S. government managers are using stable coins in order to dump treasury bonds. And I believe in the next 6 months, it's going to be quite apparent that treasuries have contaminated the stablecoin ocean of liquidity. There has to be some form of a debt write-down, and it might come with the stable coin, rendering them unstable. Okay, so the dollar is seeing a sunset, and I've been saying for 2 years or more, the sunset will not be on a given day. It'll be on a sequence of years. I believe we're in about the 3rd year of the dollar sunset. I mean the debt default multi-event situation. This is not simple. Sign up for the newsletter. Learn more about crypto in general. I don't like the name crypto. It makes it sound devious. It's digital finance. I have a chapter each month now for the last few months on digital finance. I decided about a year ago I will take this on as an area of study, because my 3 favorite assets right now are gold, silver, and XRP in reverse order. Number 1, XRP. Number 2, silver. Number 3, gold.
Why are you bullish on the XRP crypto?
Because I've got 18 features and factors that indicate that it is going to be at the epicenter of the digital transformation from the old, corrupt, fraudulent U.S. dollar, call it the fiat system, the paper system, the open outcry system. For instance, how easy is it to detect multi-trillion-dollar fraud, at least 2 or 3 trillion, for duplicate serial numbers on treasury bonds? It's very difficult. But if it were all on the blockchain, it would be apparent to thousands of people doing mining. So there's a digital revolution coming on. I don't like that word as much as transformation. There's a transformation involved at present. And here's something that should really make a critical point. Certain digital finance analysts are being hired by Wall Street to teach them about digital finance. They have been opposing Bitcoin and others. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin. I respect Ethereum, but I don't like Bitcoin. It doesn't have any intellectual property. Ethereum has contractual usage with coin exchange transfers.
Dear listeners, I was able to upload a portion of this interview, which lasted approximately 2 hours and 6 minutes due to YouTube rules. You can watch it in its entirety from the link in the description. Now, some brief information about Jim Willie will be given. Dr. Jim Willie is an analyst recognized in international finance and economic circles for his distinctive viewpoints. Commonly known simply as Dr. Jim Willie, he is often said to hold a doctorate in an economics-related field, though precise details about his academic record are not widely documented. He is best known for his work shared through his website, Golden Jackass, as well as various online interviews and podcasts. His main areas of focus include fluctuations in the financial markets, central bank policies, currency trends, and particularly the future of gold and silver. A defining trait of Dr. Willie's commentary is his emphasis on precious metals, gold and silver, as critical pillars of the global monetary system. He argues that modern fiat currencies, especially the US dollar, suffer from structural problems stemming from central bank policies and the complex nature of international finance. As a result, he foresees a scenario in which the dollar weakens while gold and silver strengthen. Dr. Willie is considered by many to be an unconventional financial commentator. His analyses often diverge from mainstream economic narratives, occasionally integrating views that some label as conspiracy theories. Yet this alternative perspective has resonated with a community of followers who value his exploration of issues they believe are overlooked by mainstream media and big financial institutions. 2. The Golden Jackass platform and content structure. Dr. Willie disseminates most of his research and opinions via his personal website, Golden Jackass. The unusual name is meant to highlight his unfiltered approach. He describes himself as presenting blunt truths without fear of reprisal. Many of the articles and reports he publishes on this site revolve around major geopolitical and macroeconomic developments. Typical topics on Golden Jackass include gold and silver market analyses. Willie is known for predicting significant spikes in gold and silver prices. He argues that continuous monetary expansion by central banks will ultimately raise the value of precious metals while eroding confidence in fiat currencies. Critiques of the global dollar system. Willie believes the US dollar's status as the dominant reserve currency will eventually weaken. He often cites the efforts of countries like China and Russia in developing alternative payment systems and gold-backed arrangements. Warnings of financial crises. Willie frequently points to risks that he says mainstream economists ignore, such as the overextension of credit, large-scale derivatives, and the excessive liquidity central banks have provided since past economic downturns. Geopolitical events and their economic effects. His analysis goes beyond pure economics to examine how geopolitics impacts commodity prices, trade flows, and especially the dollar's standing in international markets. Some content on Golden Jackass is available only to subscribers. This paid model supports his independent research, which he claims allows him to investigate topics not widely covered by mainstream financial analysts. 3. Economic analysis philosophy and methods. Dr. Jim Willie's approach to economic commentary blends macroeconomic data with monetary and geopolitical factors, resulting in what many consider a heterodox style. Key aspects of his method include historical cycle analysis. He frequently references major financial crises, such as the 1929 Great Depression and the 1971 end of the gold standard, to draw parallels with current policy missteps. He views economic cycles as influenced by political and social factors, not just by raw data. Debt and credit examination. Modern finance, according to Willie, is excessively reliant on debt. He emphasizes growing global debt levels and warns that they are unsustainable. Central bank balance sheets and leveraged banking practices are frequent targets of his critiques. Comparative currency analysis. Willie tracks how key currencies, the US dollar, the euro, the Chinese yuan, and the Russian ruble, compete against each other. He underscores the role of gold reserves and potential gold backing as crucial in these contests. Geopolitical context. Willie treats diplomacy, strategic alliances, and military advantages as integral to economic outcomes. He sees global finance and politics as intertwined, asserting that a policy shift in one arena reverberates throughout the other. Reliance on alternative information sources. Willie occasionally cites unverified or non-mainstream information, claiming that official data and media may conceal the full story. Critics argue that this tendency can lead to the spread of unsubstantiated conspiracy theories. 4. Main core perspective. Transformation of the monetary system. One of Dr. Willie's central theses is that the global monetary system is undergoing a profound realignment. He believes that the post-Bretton Woods world order, in which the US dollar has enjoyed near-hegemonic status, is coming to an end or is on the brink of doing so. As central banks keep expanding their monetary bases, he expects rising inflation to push individuals and institutions toward tangible assets like precious metals. At the heart of this view is the idea of the coming end of the dollar or the demise of the petrodollar system. According to Willie, the following trends are evidence of this shift. Countries increasing gold reserves. Emerging markets, including China, Russia, and Turkey, have been accumulating gold, potentially to establish alternative payment frameworks involving gold. Petroleum trade in currencies other than the dollar. Willie cites China's moves to pay for oil in yuan as a direct challenge to the dollar's monopoly in global energy markets. Alternative payment systems. New networks to replace or supplement SWIFT, such as China's CIPS, could undermine the dollar's role in global trade and lessen its power as a vehicle of economic sanctions. Willie portrays these developments as gradual, with many going underreported. The eventual result, in his view, would be a breakdown of the dollar-centric system that would profoundly disrupt financial institutions and national economies, while boosting the position of gold, silver, and other real assets. 5. The role of precious metals, gold and silver forecasts. Dr. Willie is particularly noted for his commentary on gold and silver. He argues that these metals have served as money throughout history and assumed the role of safe havens in times of crisis. While central banks can expand the money supply almost limitlessly, physical supplies of gold and silver remain finite, favoring these metals in the long run. He often alleges that gold and silver prices are manipulated or suppressed. According to this viewpoint, major banks use large volumes of paper gold, futures contracts, derivatives, to depress spot prices, as letting gold prices rise organically would highlight fiat currencies' weaknesses. Willie also applies this argument to silver, contending that silver is likewise undervalued but manipulated. Nevertheless, Willie believes that such price manipulation cannot persist indefinitely. A surge in physical demand, he argues, will sooner or later expose discrepancies in the paper market, leading to a dramatic revaluation of both gold and silver. In such a scenario, gold could rise well into the thousands of dollars per ounce, while silver might break into triple-digit territory, an outcome that could shake the entire global financial system. 6. The U.S. economy and Federal Reserve criticisms. Given that Dr. Jim Willie is primarily based in the United States, he frequently critiques the Federal Reserve Fed, He contends that the Fed's policies of quantitative easing and prolonged low interest rates have masked deeper problems while magnifying systemic risks. In his view, these policies only offer temporary fixes without addressing underlying debt and leverage issues. His key points of contention include unbacked money creation. Willie argues that the Fed's expansionary practices are disconnected from real economic productivity. Over time, such policies lead to higher inflation, even if official statistics do not fully capture it. Banking system vulnerabilities. According to Willie, large U.S. banks are more fragile than they appear due to their exposure to highly leveraged derivative products. Wealth disparity. He contends that Federal Reserve policies inflate asset markets, stocks, real estate, mainly benefiting the wealthy, while rising costs of living erode the purchasing power of lower and middle-income groups. External debt and trade imbalances. Willie points to America's escalating national debt and trade deficits, predicting they will reduce trust in U.S. Treasury bonds over time and threaten the dollar's reserve status. Willie's criticisms draw from independent research and alternative media sources, which he sees as less prone to presenting sanitized official narratives. While his supporters view him as exposing underreported truths, critics accuse him of selective data usage or undue alarmism. 7. Geopolitical analyses. East-West economic rivalry. Dr. Jim Willie incorporates a geopolitical lens into much of his economic commentary. He posits that the world's financial and political power is shifting from Western nations, particularly the United States and the European Union, toward Eastern powers like China and Russia. This shift, in Willie's view, involves energy resources, major trade corridors, and the struggle for technological advantage. Key points he often raises include the Belt and Road Initiative. Willie believes China's massive infrastructure project will reshape global trade routes, reduce reliance on the dollar, and accelerate Eurasian economic growth. Gold-backed currency deals. He speculates about the possibility of China and Russia jointly introducing a gold-backed digital currency or forming a trade bloc that circumvents the dollar. Energy wars. Willie states that which currencies are used to settle oil and natural gas contracts is vital. If Russia shifts to selling energy in rubles or yuan, or in exchange for gold, he sees this as a direct threat to the petrodollar system. Diplomatic and military tensions. He asserts that international tensions and conflicts can hasten financial decoupling, leading to regional economic blocs and alternative payment networks that erode the dollar's reach. Willie often cites Russian, Chinese, or other non-Western media sources to bolster his arguments, which tend to frame developments as part of a broader East-West struggle. While mainstream sources may find these views too stark or speculative, Willie's supporters regard them as a clearer portrayal of how global power balances are evolving. 8. Supporters and critics. In the realm of economics and finance, Dr. Jim Willie is considered an alternative analyst rather than part of the mainstream. This status has earned him a committed following while also drawing criticism from established economists. Supporters. Belief in exposé of hidden realities. They see Willie's commentary as a revelation of financial manipulations overlooked by mainstream channels. Precious metals enthusiasts. Investors bullish on gold and silver tend to resonate with Willie's stance on the eventual surge in precious metal values. Those interested in conspiracy theories. Willie's emphasis on secret deals and under-the-radar developments appeals to people who suspect official narratives are incomplete. Critics. Accusations of excessive speculation. Critics argue that many of Willie's forecasts have either failed to materialize or lack solid backing. Disconnected from market realities. Some economists see Willie's views as too extreme, diverging significantly from conventional market indicators. Promotion of conspiracy theories. Central to their critique is that Willie relies heavily on data or rumors that mainstream economics deem unverified. Dr. Jim Willie often counters these critiques by stating that time will prove him right. His followers tend to regard short-term inaccuracies as less important than the larger, long-term trends he highlights. 9. Major themes in publications and interviews. Dr. Jim Willie appears regularly on podcasts, in online interviews, and through articles in which he reasserts or refines his views about global finance. Recurring themes include monetary policies and the prospect of inevitable collapse. Willie often labels the ongoing wave of central bank easing as unsustainable and believes it will lead to an unprecedented debt bubble. Global trade and the dollar's standing. He focuses on the likelihood of the dollar losing its primacy in oil transactions. In his view, geopolitical powerhouses like China and Russia are accelerating this shift. Manipulation in metal markets. According to Willie, the only reason gold and silver are not trading at much higher levels is price suppression, which he believes will eventually fail. Investment suggestions. While stopping short of giving direct investment advice, Willie regularly emphasizes the value of holding physical gold and silver. He sometimes comments on real estate, cryptocurrencies, or other commodities, but his primary stance remains consistent. Tangible assets are a hedge against potential financial turmoil. 10. Dr. Jim Willie's forecasts and their accuracy. Like many financial commentators, Dr. Jim Willie has made various predictions over the years. While some have aligned partially with real outcomes, others have not materialized according to his expected timelines. Critics highlight inaccurate or postponed forecasts, especially concerning the swift collapse of the dollar or hyperinflation that did not occur as predicted. Willie and his followers attribute such delays to factors like ongoing market manipulation or new geopolitical agreements that slowed down the anticipated shifts. They also stress that his analyses revolve more around long-term structural issues than short-term market timing, and that certain economic events might simply be unfolding later than initially expected. At the same time, supporters note that Willie accurately pointed out the continued expansion of central bank balance sheets and the trend of countries accumulating gold reserves. Whether these represent unique insights or broader trends also recognized by mainstream analysts is open to debate. 11. Conspiracy theories and critiques of mainstream economics. Dr. Jim Willie sometimes embraces viewpoints described as conspiracy theories, such as allegations of covert arrangements among global banking elites or claims that certain financial institutions deliberately engineer crises. These comments often lack direct support in official reports or academic literature, undermining their acceptance by mainstream experts. Nevertheless, Willie's core audience contends that the very absence of this information in major news outlets is evidence of systematic cover-ups. This tension results in a polarized reception. While some commend him for tackling subjects that major economists avoid, others dismiss his arguments as relying on rumor or anecdotal evidence. 12. Building an audience and media strategy. Dr. Jim Willie's influence stems in large part from digital media. Rather than appearing frequently on television networks or in major newspapers, he has cultivated a following through his website, Golden Jackass. The subscription-based model allows him to finance his research and post in-depth analyses without relying on traditional editorial norms. Podcasts and interviews. Alternative finance channels invite him to discuss his views, giving him a platform free from mainstream editorial constraints. Social media. Willie uses social media platforms to share shorter commentaries and link to his more extensive articles or interviews. This approach targets a niche yet dedicated audience, particularly those skeptical of mainstream financial narratives. Willie's unconventional or controversial theories find an environment of fewer restrictions online, aligning with audiences seeking alternative takes on global economics. 13. Dr. Jim Willie's place in the financial world. In mainstream banking circles or academia, Dr. Jim Willie is not widely cited. Instead, he operates as an independent commentator, an outsider who both intrigues and polarizes observers. Critics consider his warnings overly dire and his reliance on unofficial data problematic, but the financial turmoil of previous crises has also made many investors more open to unconventional perspectives. Those who value his work stress how events like the 2008 financial crisis validated skepticism toward institutional analyses. Willie's arguments about the unsustainability of constant monetary easing and the precarious nature of the global debt burden echo broader concerns, though he often frames them more bluntly. Overall, Dr. Jim Willie sits at the intersection of alternative finance commentary and mainstream critique. While he has a loyal core following, he is also subject to ongoing scrutiny by economists and analysts who question his methods and conclusions. 14. Conclusion and assessment. Dr. Jim Willie stands out in alternative finance circles through his strong critiques of central banks, fervent support for gold and silver, and emphasis on significant geopolitical realignments. His central premise is that the current global financial order, especially the dollar-based system, is unsustainable. According to Willie, ever-increasing debt and persistent market manipulation will eventually trigger a major monetary crisis, one in which holders of real assets, particularly precious metals, will thrive. Yet, questions remain as to whether his most dramatic predictions will unfold precisely as he envisions, and on what timeline. His track record has been mixed, and skepticism about certain forecasts lingers. Supporters respond by emphasizing that Willie's perspective is best understood as a warning about underlying fragilities that may require more time to materialize or that might manifest in ways not easily predicted. Regardless of these debates, Dr. Jim Willie has established a definite niche. His analyses, whether embraced or doubted, compel audiences to consider alternative possibilities and deeper layers of the global financial system. For that reason, those who engage with Willie's writings often do so with a blend of caution and curiosity, recognizing that while his approach can veer into unconventional territory, it may also provide a valuable counterpoint to mainstream narratives.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe for our channel.